Hi everyone, welcome and thank you all for joining the today's webinar on Unlock the Mystery of Reading Comprehensions. My name is Ravali and I'm a part of team here at Turito. I'm joined here by today's speaker, Dr. Poonam Singh, one of the star tutor at Turito, and Miss Priyanka from Student Counselor Department. This webinar is an outreach program by Turito for students to help in developing their learning skills and for parents who are willing to give their children best education. Before we start off, let me give a quick overview of organization. And all you are aware, Turito is an e-learning platform and our vision is to provide quality education to every student by well-experienced faculty. Currently, Turito is available in USA, Canada, UK, Middle East, India, Singapore, and Australia regions. And programs offered by Turito are NAPLAN OC and one-on-one tutoring services for math, science, and English subjects in Australia region. Here we go. Turito exclusives are Turito offers interactive learning methods as per student requirements, regular assessments to track the child progress, and also doubt clarification sessions for making concepts stronger. Turito also provides parent app access to make you a part of child's learning journey. Moreover, we have top 2% certified educators whom we partnered with to envision our mission. Before getting into the specifics, let me offer a quick intro about today's speaker at event. Dr. Poonam Singh is a holder of PhD in Literature and Languages, and she is passionate educator with a vast experience of 8 years in education industry. She has facilitated students for competitive exams and extemporized spoken English. And all the participants joined here, please feel free to drop your questions at Q&A section. We'll be having Q&A session after discussing about the topic. We'll be answering all the questions at Q&A session. Thank you, ma'am. Over to you.
Thank you so much and welcome to everyone, those who are here for today's session. As today's topic is going to be comprehension. The most important skill that children find difficulty in from the very beginning, when they start learning about any language. So comprehension, what do we mean by, first of all, comprehensions? So comprehension includes the correct association of meanings with word symbols, the selection of the correct meaning suggested by the context, the organization and retention of meanings, the ability to reason one's way through smaller idea segments, and the ability to grasp the meaning of the larger unitary ideas. Now, there is also been said by Thorndike, the famous speaker. He said, reading comprehension simply as thinking. To comprehend, pupils need to understand language patterns, composing, or to recognize the structural elements, composing a sentence, and to perceive a synthetic interrelationship of these elements. So when we talk about, in other words, what is it? So people must understand syntax, the expression. What do I mean by syntax here? So in order to comprehend prose, comprehend the text, the paragraphs, linguistics have segregated these knowledge into different levels. First, there is a phonemic level. Visuals of acoustic input is recorded into basic speech sounds called phonemes. Second comes the lexical level, which actually corresponds with the roughly words that we have already in our minds. Then comes the synthetic levels, which includes the set of rules that specify how categories and words are to be grouped or ordered. Then comes the different way, that is semantic level, which specify how the meaning of sentences are constructed. The meaning of a sentence is it's not simply the summation of lexical meaning of the words in the sentences, but also it talks about the pragmatic level. So in today's webinar, we'll be talking about different types of comprehensions. We'll be talking about the different styles of comprehensions. We'll look into the right strategy that we absolutely use solving these or answering these comprehensions. And apart from that, we will also look into how time management is important. So let's begin with the types first. So how, first of all, we can come up with the improving our comprehension skills. So we have literal comprehension, reorganization, inferentials, evaluation, and appreciation. These different types of comprehensions do come in exams, in competitive exams, where children find difficulty in understanding and reciprocating the ideas. Now, unless and until I understand what my comprehension is trying to say, I won't be able to answer exactly the same way what the question talks about. So imagine if there is a text being given about Billy, and all the information is given about her or him only in the text. And now the child has been asked to answer certain questions. So on this basis, child can easily infer the information or the facts given about that text, about the person. But what if it will come in the general or the social basis? So we have to come to understand about literal meaning first. Literal meaning is simply what the text says. It is what actually happens in the story. This is a very important level of understanding because it provides a foundation for more advanced comprehensions. Without understanding the material on this level, you could not go any further. Now let's use the story about Billy to provide an example. The literal meaning of the story was that Billy built a tower, for example, out of the blocks. Now, to answer such question based on the literal meaning will always to be found in the text. Like, for example, who was building the tower? So we will be able to answer that question. But if I could ask the question instead, why or why not Billy tried to build the tower? In this way, I won't be able to answer such questions because it is out of that meaning. So we have to always remember to read whenever literal meaning is to be considered, the main idea, stated facts, the sequence of the events and characters in the story. And now when we talk about inferential meaning of any particular comprehension, it talks about determining what the text means. You start with the stated information. This information is then used to determine deeper meaning that is not explicitly stated. Now, determining inferential meaning requires you to think about the text and draw a conclusion. Getting back to Billy again, what inferential meaning could we get from our story? We could infer that Billy is good at building towers. A question about inferential meaning will typically make you provide examples from the text that back up your thinking. For example, why could you assume that Billy is good at building towers? Now, in this assumption, we have to come up with certain, again, facts. We have to provide some evidences to come to a conclusion. So you assume this is true because the story says that Billy's tower got higher and higher, and the design became more intricate with each block. So and then comes the evaluative understanding. Evaluation comes up with what the text is trying to evaluate. What are we trying to take on? Is it just talking about today's condition? Or is it talking about something which is going to also impact the future? Now, when we talk about the strategies, what are the different strategies that we should use? Any comprehension deals with two different types of strategies, skimming and scan. Now, when I say skimming is absolutely a short method where a person can read, where a child can read over the lines and come to the questions and then answer those questions. Now, when we talk about scanning, it is time consuming and you may always get better answers when you scan. So now the question is, if in the competitive exam, the comprehension has to be attempted, let's, for example, 30 to 40 minutes of time. In that manner, what strategies am I supposed to use then? In that manner, I will go for scanning. But scanning is the only very good procedure that helped me out with with the time management. It also lacks me with the explicit answers that I need to give for the questions. So whenever we come up with the strategies, there are different ways that we use these two strategies in a I could say wonderful manner that both can be used in a different way. For example, if I'm using skimming, in skimming, I would do annotation strategy. In annotation, I would divide my passage into different ways and then each paragraph into a different or a small title. And when the question comes up, I would be easily able to infer to which particular paragraph that question belongs to. And if I do go for scanning, that also will help me with, again, annotation by formulating certain different groups. For example, what do I mean by annotating here? Annotation means when I, for example, underline all the important words, or you can say the proper nouns in the sentences or in the comprehension. So all the proper nouns, if I underline, and when I see the questions, most of the question do take us to the proper nouns or to concrete information dealt or shared in the comprehension. So how we can improve now? We have to enhance our vocabulary. We need to keep on asking questions about the text that we read. Take help from of the context clues that also will be helpful in the terms of annotation. Uncover the main idea and summarize. Break up passages into smaller sections. Answer each question with ease. By following these steps, we can easily able to come to understand how to improve reading skill. Now, how Turito helps us to become an expert here. We will here let you understand the different, first of all, the different types of comprehension. Every comprehension is different from each other, and this strategy will be definitely used in a different way. Like every child has his or her potential and may be best in their own field. The same way, every comprehension has its own purpose. So we need to understand to evaluate current passage reading skills. We need to identify and improve our gap areas. We need to enhance vocabulary choices and know how to read and understand as per the student's pace. I was also talking about the time management, which is so good and important in any comprehension when it comes to if I could say in competitive exams, year 9, year 10, year 11, year 12, these children do always have comprehensions and they always find difficulty in answering the questions, which either would be inferentials, evaluations. Now we, on the basis of the different types of comprehensions, we will be able to answer them. I hope this point is clear. And now moving on to how are we going to make you expert. So why we should learn here with Turito? We make children, we give the children a platform where they can not only get the lectures on the basis of the topic or the subject, they would get what they want. It means that we are dealing here with the requirement. We deal here with the problems. We deal here with the errors the child does in the writing. Here, it's not one child fit or one size fits all. It's not at all like that. We understand the child's need and the requirement of the parent and then goes for the classes. We always believe in mindful. We don't just let the child write down the sentences on any grammar topic. We will let the child understand how that grammar topic is going to be used in all different 4 areas. That's reading, writing, speaking. And then comes up the clear concepts, and we always try to clear the concepts from the ground level. It's not, for example, if my child is in grade 9 and he still has some problem in the grammar, we will be dealing with that first. Then we will come to the next level. So it is the base. We'll try to make always the base first. Then we put up the pillars and then we go to the top. Now we here give the children an amazing session that is live, definitely interactive, where children will get their own personalized classes. The teachers with whom they are comfortable, with the teachers whom they find them interactive, and those teachers are all trained and highly skilled. That is what we always guarantee here on Turito. And moving on to the other, and we are now moving on to the end of it, reading comprehensions one. We also make the children exam ready. So we all, it's not only the exams that you have at your schools, it's also for the NAP plan, OCs, and we move on to collaborative reading. And that's what speaking, grammar, reading, writing deals with. So that is all for today's session in reading comprehensions. I hope you to keep on reading and to have wonderful skills ahead.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for detailed explanation about the topic, ma'am. We'll be moving into the Q&A session, and we got some questions from participants, ma'am. Let's start answering them, ma'am. And the first question: can you please help me in a passage type called closed passage?
Okay, closed passage. When we talk about closed passages, just a minute. Okay. Can you please help me in passage type called closed passage? Yes. First of all, closed passage deals with CLOZE. Close means when you have intact information, and that always deal with certain MCQs. So closed passages have 3 paragraphs basically, and on the basis of which you have been always answered, you need to. So when we talk about yes on Turito, every teacher will definitely take closed passages as well in terms.
Next question: any tips to remember information easily in the reading comprehension without going back to the passage for every question?
Yes, in that way, we always let the child understand an annotation. The moment we are skimming, we always let the child understand 3 different ways by which they underline certain proper nouns. That one I've shared with you, and there are 2 more which we'll be taking up in the regular sessions. So we let the child go through with that, and within no time, you'll be able to answer all the questions by using that strategy.
How to improve comprehension skill in short span?
Yes, that is something that we always want to improve, and that is how we this is something that we can improve very easily. Just read one particular article of a day from a newspaper, online, whichever way you would like to, and just write down for good vocabulary 10 words or 5 words according to your own choice. That will definitely help you.
Will knowing well about the comprehension passage topic help us in answering questions?
Yes, absolutely. When I know what the comprehension is asking me, if it is generalized, if it is factual, if it is descriptive, I would always definitely be able to answer those questions well, because I know what the question is demanding and where am I supposed to find the answers. And definitely skimming and scanning. These 2 different ways, depending on where am I using and how much time do I have, on the basis of which I would definitely be able to answer all those questions.
Next question: is there any ways to improve reading skills with any confusions?
Is there any ways this question is a bit confusing, right? Is there any ways to improve reading skills with any confusion? I don't think so. If you know what the different types are, if you know how, what is the demand of the comprehension, definitely there would no confusion remain there.
Yeah, ma'am. Next question: what are the major causes of poor reading skills in children?
To be very honest, these days we have given children the gadgets instead of the books. So this is the major cause that we actually face, to be very precise. And apart from that, because we don't have too much of emphasis on reading at this time, it's just what the teacher or what the child reads in the class, that's it. Earlier, we used to have books as a pastime. So if we can infer, or if we can, at least start a little bit of reading in the child's daily routine, maybe in the bedtime stories or any which way, it will definitely help out in reading comprehensions too.
Can you suggest any books to improve reading skills, ma'am? Next question.
There are not any specific book that come for reading skill improvement. But yes, there are different or various ways by which we can improve. And that is what I was explaining. Read a small article in a day, or reading a short story. If the child is very happy in reading comics, for example, or dialogues, why not to give dialogues as well? Or at times, if there is nothing the child finds interest in, we can also child to write what he has observed the entire day. So in this manner, if the child writes what he had written, what he has observed, what he has experienced, that also will give him a little bit of reading, because he'll be proofreading again what did he write. So that always helps the child to get the correct meaning what he's trying to say through the passages or through the paragraphs.
One second, ma'am. Sometimes all the options seems to be similar.
Yeah, the question is how do we answer questions by eliminating options? So eliminating options always give a very clear example, very clear cut pointers. Elimination process is the one that where two answers are absolutely incorrect and two are somewhat similar to each other. So we have to first of all understand the keyword of the question, on the basis of which then we can come to the eliminate options. Then we can eliminate the options. Like for example, I was talking about Billy's story a little. So in that manner, if someone would say, how would you say that she had a good knowledge of building blocks or the tower, because she was making towers higher. So in this manner, if I could know what the question task or targets, then definitely I'd be able to answer exactly the same question, the same option, and not would lie on the different options then.
Next question, how to improve answering all questions before exam time?
Yeah, that is what I was talking about, time management. So there are certain strategies that we teach during the classes these days. So in that way, you'll be able to get how we can answer those questions in very short span of time with skimming, not even with scanning. Like I just shared one example in annotation. Like if you underline all the proper nouns of the passage and then go for the question. So there are 3 or 4 different ways the questions generally been asked. One is to know about the proper things or maybe the general facts. Then comes the number. Then any kind of inferential meanings or any kind of the important facts which has been discussed about in the story about the character or maybe in general. Or the last one at times is assuming something. So there are these 4 different types of questions generally been asked in the question paper. On the basis or why using that annotation strategy, definitely we would be able to answer all of those questions within the time span.
We got same question again from another participant, ma'am. Book recommendations to read.
Now this question is quite ambiguous. Because here the question says, do you have any book recommendation to read? Now, first of all, I need to know about the child. How old is she or he? Then what is the purpose? Like, is it just to get the child into putting into the reading habit, or it is also about the reading comprehensions? So if I would say for the stories of a reading, just to improve or to put the child into interest having in it. So I think in that manner, we can go for any good short story or short story books, wherever child gets fine interest in.
Yeah, ma'am. Is there any ways to improve reading skills without any confusions?
This question has been repeated, I guess.
Can you give us some more information regarding this course? Pavan will answer this, ma'am. Yeah.
Yeah, so basically the whole course, as ma'am already told everybody, that it is customizable, personalized as well as flexible. So what we are really doing, that every child is like pretty much different. Some might excel in something and some might not be able to do very well in a particular topic or in a particular subject. So everything is actually created in a way that it is catering the need of the child itself. Maybe the child might be preparing for some any kind of competitive exams, or maybe only academic purpose he is looking forward for. So everything will be based upon the current understanding and where the child wants to be, right? This is the gap or the bridge that we are trying to cover up. The whole course is actually made in a manner where flexibility is one of the biggest component. So we are actually providing like 2 classes within a week itself, and it is completely up to the parent as well as the child, your convenience, in whatever manner you wish to take the course itself. Also, the teachers that are already, ma'am already told this point, they are pretty much well trained for the examination itself and for the Australian curriculum. We are completely following the Australian curriculum, and everything is customizable. So if you want to remove some topic, or if you want to have some topics within the curriculum, that can be done, right? So there are 2 important courses that we are providing. So first one is a 48 class course ultimately, and there is a 96 class course. So the price of the 48 class course is 600 AUD, and for the 96 class course is basically 850 AUD. And there is no lock-in period as such. And once you take the demo class, if you are interested for the same. And if you want to take the demo class, once you take the demo class and you want to proceed with the same, one of the counselor will get in touch with you in order to explain you about the specification of the course itself.
And here I also want to add on a point, just there, Kaveri. I could say there are two students, for example, I have. One is from Melbourne and the other is for Sydney. So both the students both are in 10th grade and they have different two topics. One wants to learn about intertextuality and the other wants to learn about passage. Now these two topics are absolutely different, but in the same grade. So we deals with each and every child's requirement there. I'm teaching the other child intertextuality, but I also keep in mind that the other child should also learn about that. So because this is something, no matter today or tomorrow, it will be being faced by the child. So we always deal with those topics which are their concerned.
Thank you. And the next question is, how long do you think that I should spend in a very long story?
How do you think that I should spend in a very long story? I didn't get this question. How do you think that I should spend in a very long story? Like, what am I supposed to spend? Do I spend time? Do I spend, means what? Like, for example, if you're reading a novel, I never want the child to read at least go for 10 pages a day. Please read one or two of your own choice, but remember to understand, to infer the meaning of that particular text. Underline such words which you find something new for you. And for next 2 days, just go on using those words. Now, this is something that will help you in your reading comprehension for sure. It will help you to even, cram up those words. Those are quite new for you. And definitely you'll be now getting an interest to go ahead with the story. So whenever it talks about reading the story, I think it's all depending on how much interest do you have. And if it is talking about writing a story, for example, if there is a question like how much time do I spend to write a story, a long story, now that is also a task where you need to give up to certain points. The plot, the theme, setting, everything is to be decided. You cannot simply just write, there is a question and you start writing on it. Definitely that will never benefit you and will never let you go for the prospect that you have. So always, it will definitely take, if it is writing, 3 to 4 days for a long story to be written completely.
Next question, also to management only, ma'am. How can we know the progress of our child after enrolling to the course? Pawan, can you answer this?
Yeah. So first thing, the most foremost important thing is that assessment and the measurement. So ultimately, if you're not able to assess the child, there is no improvement, right? And that is why there is a complete portal that will be provided to you. Is a kind of an analytics portal where you will be able to track everything whatsoever is happening. What are the topics? What are the topics in which the child has scored or child has performed exceptionally well? What are the areas that he or she is lacking? There is also PTM reports that are generated, which is simplifying or giving you a complete picture of this week test or a month test and what is the progress in terms of percentage and other metrics. So that is how we are actually measuring it up. And teacher is also able to see what are the questions where the child has committed a mistake or what are the areas that he's lacking. So ultimately, the improvement cycle or the feedback cycle will go on, and we can continue up in order to improve from the foundation till the complexity that we want to bring in.
Thank you, Pawan. Ma'am, the next question is, what page should I read for an average test?
What page should I read for an average test? I think, for example, if you have days, let's say if you are in a test and it is of 30 minutes. So I always wish to children to have a skimming part first, like just go through once the text, go for the questions. And I always prefer to use the annotation strategy at the same time when we are skimming. So I think that is one thing which we always, prefer with skimming, if it is short span of duration. And if you have a long, for example, an hour or so for doing the same option or for the same comprehension, then definitely you can go for scanning there. But yes, again, that annotation strategy will help you. So if I could say what pace should I read, I think I have answered in both the ways, depending on the time.
No more questions. We'll be ending the session, ma'am. Thank you so much for detailed explanation about the topic and answering all the questions with patience. And also, I will thank Pavan too, because he has explained enrollment process and uh, tracking the progress of the child in detail. And we'll be having also session in the coming week as well, ma'am. Um, I would like to see you all again. Until then, if you have any queries, please write to us at k@turito.com. For more info, please visit our website www.turito.com. And for better learning and better results, join Turito. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day ahead.
Thank you.